I want to switch gears and ask you about FISA. You've been talking about this a lot. I've seen your posts and your commentary on the floor. But the Senate passed the FISA surveillance tool renewal, minutes after the midnight deadline. So right there, you got it in. You're very critical of this because there wasn't even an amendment for a warrant required to spy on ordinary citizens. What happens when you're surveilling foreign terrorists? How do ordinary Americans get swept up in that and get surveilled?
From time to time, American citizens, some of them perhaps more than others, but nobody really knows how often it might happen. If you're talking to someone who turns out to be an agent of a foreign power, somebody on foreign soil who's being surveilled under FISA 702, your end of that conversation, whether on the phone, by text or email or otherwise, will also be scooped up. We call that incidental collection. It'll be then stored on an NSA database. And what I've been arguing for years is that in order for them to do a query of your name, knowing that you're a U.S. citizen, before they type in Maria Bartiromo, show me everything that we've got on her on the database, that really ought to require a warrant. You see, because they've collected that without a warrant. In order to access it, knowing that you're a U.S. citizen, they should have to get a warrant for that. It's not too much to ask, and yet the United States Senate passed this just a couple of days ago without any warrant requirement. That's very unfortunate.
Well, wait a minute, because critics of your upset on this say that there were 56 reforms and restrictions on the FBI to FISA warrants in the bill that would stop future Crossfire hurricane and put criminal penalties in place. They say that this is critical to stopping terrorists that are likely in the country now. And they say almost 100% of what we knew about the cartels, the drug cartels and fentanyl producers and working with China is because of FISA 702 in this program.
Yeah. Look, these are fake fig leaves as far as reforms go. They put some reforms in place nominally. Do you know who they put in charge of them? Well, FBI leadership. So if you're comfortable with how FBI top brass have been policing themselves, especially when it comes to FISA, where we've seen abuse after abuse after abuse, like the agent who ran an American citizen through the 702 database and did a query on him because he was thinking about renting an apartment from him, or the guy who thought that his dad was cheating on his mom, so he ran his dad through it, or the other agent who decided to run 19,000 donors to a congressional campaign through the FISA 702 database. Those were all under the leadership of the same people who will be in charge of overseeing these so-called reforms. So it's kind of like handing the keys to the fox and telling him to have fun with the hen house. He's in charge.
Well, Senator, it just seems like over and over again we hear so many complaints about the FBI. I mean, the FBI abused all of this during the Trump era, and yet your group just watched new money go to the FBI so that they could make a new headquarters and build a new headquarters. I mean, you just keep getting rolled over. What should voters think about the Republican Party that you keep being on the losing end of all of this stuff?
Well, yeah, the FISA issue is an interesting one. We've got people from both political parties who are on both sides of this. It doesn't work out evenly. Now, increasingly, Republican voters are wanting more accountability from and more limitations on the federal government, on the FBI, for example, and on FISA. Increasingly, we're electing more members of Congress to both houses who are Republicans, who are saying, let's look out for our core constitutional protections, including the Fourth Amendment.
Yeah. All right, Senator, we'll be watching all of this and certainly watching your work. Senator Rand Paul was also against it, I should point out. Senator, it's good to see you this morning. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Maria.